Hi there, this is Dawn. Welcome back to my art room and welcome to my YouTube channel. I've been basting my quilt that I'm working on for the Volume 8 Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, making a quilt with gathered things, and I have put the top and the wadding and the base together. In my first video I talk about all those things that I'm using, and I just thought I'd come back and do a little bit of extra around this for people who might not have ever done this before. So what I did to start with was that I pinned the 3 layers together, and now I'm basting them together. I'm hoping, in the last video I didn't have you completely centered, and so I'm hoping that I can manage this a little bit better because I'm doing it actually on my dining room table. I've added this mat. It's an IKEA, I got it from IKEA. It's actually for lining your drawers, and all I wanted to do is protect the timber surface because I'm working on a polished timber surface and I just didn't want to scratch it while I was stitching it, but I want to leave it flat while I'm stitching. And so I'm using this big herringbone stitch here to add the layers down, to secure the layers together. And what I'm doing all the while is making sure that I've got no puckering. And what I wanted to share with you is that there is a little bit there. And so what I've been doing as I've been working along with it is moving the pins and making sure that all my layers, stretching it from underneath. Here you can see where that has, so the purpose of basting, pinning and basting all the layers together is to ensure that once you start working on it, you don't have a situation like that. Cool. So yeah, I'm moving it along the table as I'm working it all the time, smoothing it out, getting rid of pins when I need to. And now I just need to check that you're on screen. Good. All right. So I have removed again all the doilies that I put on. Oh, I don't know where you are. Sorry. It's a funny angle for the iPad and I can't see you. And the other telly's in use. My husband's watching some TV, so I can't project you up onto the big screen. I'm not doing any big knots. Let me see if I can remember. Yep, I'm just doing a couple of little stitches just to secure it there, and then once I've stitched these in place, I can take the pin out. There's one on the other side here. Get rid of that. Good. And I'm working from left to right simply because the herringbone stitch works better from left to right. And so going from right to left, you don't get the same movement. So I'm stopping and starting at the end of each row as my preference. I did this on my Just Because quilt and really liked how it handled, how I could manage the quilt as a whole. It really kept it stable. And so again, I'm not going to knot. I'm just going to, I'm just going to move this mat along because it's hanging off the edge of the table. I was going to put a couple of stitches in here. Gosh, I'm moving this up because I keep getting you off screen and I don't really know why that's actually happening. got the camera on a funny angle, I think. Oh, so yeah, just a couple of little stitches, not bothering to knot it, not going on the other side. I'm keeping this as simple for myself as I possibly can. It's still taken for the whole thing. It's a couple of hours. It's not, and I'm not finished yet. I've still got to get to there. But yeah. So the herringbone, this herringbone stitch. So I'm making sure all the time that I'm flattening things out. I move it up where you can see it. Keeping everything flattened. So I go from this with the needle from the right to the left, and then take it up on an angle, and again right to left. So I can get rid of that pin because I've got to there. Oh goodness, why is it that you get a knot? As soon as you get yourself on screen. There's another one there that I can get rid of. Good. So I've only gone to here because this is where my cloth is hemmed, and so I'm just going to that edge there as a sorry, that telly's a bit loud. All right, I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to go down the other end and go back again from right to left. So when I'm nearly done, I can come back and let you know how I'm going. Okie doke. Okay, I'm back. It's nearly a week's gone by. Well, no, not quite, but quite a few days, and I've done quite a bit of work on this, but I thought I'll come back and have a little stitch with you. So I continued to leave this in the middle, but I just had a bit of a play on the edges. So I found another lace doily. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm doing some invisible stitch on this doily, because what I want to do is maybe only give it some running stitch around here, and I don't know what I'll do in the middle, but I don't want it to be all like puffy from under, coming up from underneath. So I'm just doing an invisible stitch, and yeah, you can't see it, I can barely see it. What I have to do is work out where it is and where it isn't. And at the moment what I've done is I've done some on this doily. Have I? No, maybe I haven't done any on that doily. No. So I started here and I went straight up sort of through the middle. Let me see where I went. There. Up sort of through there. And then came back around. What I want to do is just leave some of these edges for the minute, and I'll tell you why in a sec. I don't want to stitch them down, but I want to try and get rid of some pins. The other thing that I've been doing is getting rid of some of this underneath these paler doilies. You can see that pink stitching. So just as I've been going along, I've been pulling it out. Of course it's not going to come out of this one, is it? Because I've said that to you. Yeah, just because you can see it, and I don't need it anymore. The first part of this video was I just talked about doing it to hold all the layers together, and I'll continue to leave, all these outside areas with it there. But what I don't want is to leave it in forever. Now I could take it out from the other side, but I'm just getting rid of it as I can, just to make my life a little bit easier. But you probably can't see. Maybe if you zoom up, you will see these pink lines through this fabric and through the white doilies, and I found that out. as I was doing another area. All right, so I'll repin that. I'll pull them out in a minute. They'll come out. Mostly they come out. Just wanted to let you know about it. Oh, goodness. Cool. All right, so doilies, probably thrifted, probably got these from an op shop. Oh, sorry, that's my dishwasher finishing. I forgot it was on. Cool. All right, well, there'll be no more noise from that. It's just the noise from the heater that you can hear now. But I've been doing a whole heap of work down the bottom, and it was just that I got interested in it, that was all, and thought that I would just keep working on it. Just so you can see. I really wanted to continue using some blue where I could, so I went looking for things. All right, now, let me see if I can get you in the screen now. Cool. All right, well, you're close. So I started with this round doily here that's got a little bit of blue in the crocheting thread. It has got some blue flowers, some blue fabric. I wanted to bring in this colour as well. It's not quite grey, but it's a browny grey, which I quite like. I've got a doily here that I've added some stitching to. So this thread is thread that definitely thrifted. Some crochet cotton from the op shops that I've dyed, and dyed in a colour range that I really like. This was a gift from Vicky. Gorgeous. Yeah, so I've done some stitching around there. The other thing that I have started to do is make some Suffolk puffs, and I thought that I would add those somewhere. These two fabrics, another thrift. So Margaret will laugh when she hears me talking about this. So at her family home, they had a leather footstool. We used to call them puffets in the day, but they're a footstool. And some of the stitching came apart, and she said, could I help her mend it? Yes, I'll do that. Haven't quite done it yet, but it's definitely on the card. So we emptied this thing. It weighed a ton. We could not believe what came out of it. So what came out of it was somebody's rag bag. But, you know, there were men's suit coats and suit pants, and we think they might have belonged to the St John Ambulance Brigade. There were printed things with that on it. Most of the fabric was not recoverable. It had been in this thing for too long. But I found this piece of original mattress sticking. What a shame, that's all there was. I would have liked a bit more, but you can see it's been soaked and washed, and yeah, that's what a lot of the other fabric was. Anyway, I decided that I could rescue a couple of bits. So definitely thrifted that bit. And the other one was from a piece of flour sack that had been turned into, it's just all in the buffet. Footstool. This was one that they had made, you know, it's like a hat, you know, probably a theatre hat or something, and it'd cover their head when they go into opera. It's got a buttonhole here, a handmade buttonhole, which I'm going to, don't worry, I'm preserving it. But I thought it's so faded, and it's already been cut up. So I've made Suffolk puffs out of those. So definitely my thrifted fabrics are going into this. I've started doing a little bit of cantha stitching. You can see here in straight rows. I'm not going to do the whole thing in one hit. It's too big, and I just don't think that it's going to have a nice look at the end. But I've also done some here in that sort of a crew colour of crochet thread. Can I see it? No. It's done a disappearing act. Hang on. Yeah. So it's this colour. Looks a lot darker on the telly. But anyway, it's this colour. I thought that it was going to go, and in particular it's going to go with some of those doilies, like my favourite one that's got a darker crochet cotton, and this one. So I'm doing both whenever I kind of feel like it. It's not really, it's a bit here and there kind of thing. But what I have done is I've stitched around these. Ooh, this one hasn't got any, invisible stitching in it yet. But I've done stitching around the fabric. Like I said, used my blue dyed thrifted thread here. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to continue in this vein. I've got a piece of, the little sandwich plate doilies. They're quite sweet. I quite like this orange colour as well with the blue, mostly because, they're complementary anyway. And then the last bit that I'm going to do, and this will go throughout my whole quilt. Oh, quilt. That was a funny way of saying it. My mouth went weird. I'm going to cut out these blue flowers. I have a tablecloth that I've had, well, 45 years, well and truly in the vintage. Thrifted from my store, thrifted from my drawers, not my store. Don't have a store, I have a stash. It was probably a wedding present or a kitchen tea present or an engagement present. I can remember it being wrapped in a cellophane bag with paper under it, and it had serviettes to go with it. I've since collected more serviettes in this blue colour, and what I thought I would do is throughout the quilt continue to applique them in random places, which is kind of like why I didn't want to stitch down every edge, because I don't know if things are going to go under, over, not 100% sure. So my tack on this is to leave some edgy bits and then put them down when I know for sure there's going to be nothing. But I suspect something will go here. I don't know what yet, got no idea. I'm going to canthus stitch it just to get rid of pins. I want to stitch this down more with some invisible stitching. It's got a little bit, it hasn't got a heap. I think I've sort of come in, through the middle, and yeah, haven't got a lot. This is where I could see the pink thread, because it's so thin that you could see all those pink threads, so I had to get rid of those. And the same thing with this doily here, you could see those pink threads. So as I've been going along, I've been removing them. Now you could remove them from the other side because you can see where they are, so it would be just a matter, if this is what you're doing, pick a thread that you can see. You could pull those threads out from there quite easily. And I will have to do that in places because, number one, I'll forget. But on the wrong side, you can see that my stitching isn't going all, it's going to be in areas. There's a stain here that I need to cover, and that'll happen. But I'm not going to worry about the back until the end, really. So yeah, so this is me with my stitches, my prompts 1 and 2. I'm going to keep on working. I thought I'd just show you how I'm going about this invisible stitch here. I'm expecting my daughter and granddaughter any minute. They're having a day together to do some things, and then my granddaughter's going to come and stick around with me for a bit. Paul's gone off. Oh, we lost that needle. Paul's gone off playing cars, so there'll be just her and I here, which will be lovely, but I'm probably not going to video while she's here. So I thought while I'm, while I've got a little bit more time, I will show you what I'm doing with the invisible stitching. Now, I'm just using a plain old polyester sewing thread. I've got it in like a calico colour and a white, which is what made me stop then, because this one's that bit more calico. And I do want it to be invisible because I'm not going to pull it out. But with invisible stitching, I'm not going to go, put those, I used my funny little Suffolk puff maker that I bought in Japan. All of the instructions are in Japanese. So luckily they've got pictures and they're pretty good. So I did make 2 Suffolk puffs and easily. Very cool. I've normally just traced around a circle in the past and done it, but this was pretty neat. All right, so I've just got this machine thread, which you can probably hardly see. I've got a fairly thin, sharp needle because I don't want to make holes. Some of the older linens, because they've been starched, the needles make a hole in them, and or it just sort of perishes it a little bit. I'm a bit nervous about doing it sometimes. So I'm not going all the way through to the back. I'm going to come in here in line with this sort of shape here, and I'm going to leave a little bit of opening in case I probably want to feed. I might want to put something over the top. All right, 10 more minutes I've got till they'll hear. What I'm going to do, I'll shush that up because you don't need to hear that ping at me because I didn't answer it. Cool. All right, let's see what we can do in 10 minutes. Good. I'm not going all the way through to the underside. I'm just scooting through the wadding, and I can sort of kind of feel that. It's a little stitch. That one was a bit big, but anyway, that's all right. Come back almost back where you were, where you came out. Go back in. And it's a big stitch on the inside of the fabric. If you're worried, stick your hand under there to make sure you don't go through it, but I'm not. I can't feel my hand is here. I can't feel the needle going through, so that's good, but I do have this protection on the table that's kind of a bit felted, so it's softer. So yeah, that's all I'm doing. The running stitch that I'm doing is random. I'm sorry about the start of this video. It was a bit all over the place, but I wasn't doing it on the big screen, and it's big, and I just want to keep working on it on the dining room table. I don't want to put it back. Oh well, number one, on my knee, it's going to be more difficult to do this part. Once I get to embellishing and things, it'll be easier. Oh, sorry. So that was weird. When the phone rang, the iPad just instantly cut out. So that was kind of weird. There we go. Cool. I don't know what to do with my thimble. It's gone. I had it a second ago. All right, so I'm not going to go all the way to the end here. I'm just going to scoot in under. Leave a little bit, but I'm going to be able to take those pins out. They're going to be able to come out. I'm going to be able to make it fairly, be able to keep it fairly straight. I got over trying to do straight lines. I didn't measure it and just thought, no, that was just going to be too hard. I didn't want to do it anymore. Didn't want to do straight lines. But I do straight lines. I'm quite graph shapes appeal to me. Just obviously my eye, I suppose. I do like sort of things that go in straight lines. I don't know why. just one of those weird things that happen. All right, I'm going to come back down across the middle here because I want to get rid of that foofy. I will, you know, it'll go, I'll end up doing stitching that on, you know, down the sides, but before I do that I want to just get rid of the middle foof. I don't know what to do with my thimble. Oh, annoying. Oh, here it is. Good. Let's see if I can swizzle you around without too much grief. Yes, they were on their way and wanted to know if they wanted me to pick up something for lunch, but I said no, I was good. I was good to go. Cool. All right. Might be a little bit closer to you, but I can feel where the needle's going inside, and I'm not trying to sew on some weird angle. But like I said, I want it, I'm not pulling it too tight. You'll see a little dimple, just a tiny weeny little one. And that's okay. I'll probably come back in and put some running stitch, maybe follow track around the shape there, just to quilt it in, give it that quilted look. This is just to hold it down until I get to that point, because trying to put it on my knee in front of the tally when I haven't done this is too hard. And even stitching it on the table isn't really the easiest job, but I wanted to use a whole cloth. I didn't want to cut it up and use a whole lot of separate ones. Probably easier if I had of, but never mind. All right, we're gonna whiz around these flowers here just to hold them in place. Like I said, don't want to go to the edge yet, but I've got thread in my needle, so might as well use it. All right, and then I think I can come back across the middle there. The only reason I don't want it to go on the inside is I don't want those big stitches, no, on the inside, on the wrong side, sorry. I don't want those big stitches there, simply because your hands and things will get caught in them. And as a quilt that you're going to throw on over your legs if you're sitting watching the telly and it's a bit cool. Oh, I already came across that way, silly duffer. Okay, go back down here. Don't want to get your fingers or your rings or your whatever, fingernails, caught in the longer threads at the back. All right. I just did another little stitch. I'm going to pull that through there, because I don't want knots either. I don't want knots on the wrong side. So I'm just going to give it a little pull and then it'll bury itself back in. Cool. So there we go. That's what I'm doing. Invisible stitching my bits and pieces down for now, just because I don't know what else I want to put here, and I think I can wait for prompt 3 before I tackle it much further. I've got my doilies that I still need to stitch on in other areas. I don't know if I'm going to do all 4 corners in a corner fashion or how I'm going to tackle it, but it already has that. It already has the tulips in 4 corners. It's the pattern has an overlay. The stripe, has this, it's already defined. The tulips are in the corners, so probably having doilies in the corners probably makes sense for the overall Don't have to compete with it. All right, good. I'm going to come down across this way now. And you can see where I went if you really want to get up close. I just think that you don't need to get up really close. Well, you can if you want, and you can see the stitches. So it's as simple as that. I'm only going through the doily here. I'm not going through anywhere else. Having a long skinny needle helps you to sort of get underneath through the layers, and the sharpness helps to create just a little tiny stitch without it. Yep. Making a feature of it. Gosh, I nearly can't see it. And I mean, at times it may only be going through this very top layer. It may not even be going through the wadding, but that's all right. I'm not worrying about that. It's holding it. It's holding itself. And it's just stopping that fluffiness that happens if you don't do it. Yeah, just sort of kind of balloons up if you're only stitching on the very edges. And this is a quick job, a bit like the other. You know, that herringbone basting. This is kind of still basting, but it's basting now this layer of doilies and bits and pieces. So yeah, I hope that you're all finding time to do something that you love to do. Like I said, I had a little bit of time to myself this morning, so I thought quickly do a video before I then can't do a video. I'll see how I go. If I need to come back and add a little bit more onto this once they've gone, it'll be later this afternoon. Paul's not here. He's playing cars, so he won't be chattering at me or having the telly on too loud. So I might be able to do a little bit more videoing when I get down to, once I've done these bits, come back and show you how I'm doing a bit of that running canthus stitch. Cool, I already went there. I'm gonna hop down in here. This is very lacy, this doily. I reckon I might have, this might be one that I had back when I was very first married. I liked doilies. I liked antique furniture, and I liked old, anything old, didn't matter, so long as it was old. And in those days, the antique shops weren't as crazily priced. And every now and then at some of the trash and treasure markets, we could pick up random good things. The op shops had had antiques in them, and you could get them for a really good price. And you know, sometimes they needed a bit of restoration. Now, even the op shops think that, you know, they've got to charge a silly price for things. Gosh, we used to pick up a bundle of doilies for $1. We can't do that anymore. Never mind, that's all right. That's what's happened. I quite possibly had this doily, I can't remember, but once I started slow stitching, you know, a few years ago, all the doilies came out, and now I'm using them again instead of hoarding them in a drawer. Good-o. All right, well, I think that's probably, you know, timely. I can finish here with you for now. I'm going to come back shortly once I've invisible stitched these bits all down, but you can see how straight away it just kind of like just integrates it into the background, and I just think that, yeah, that makes it look really, really good. You might see me again in a minute. This isn't very long. Come back and do a little bit more stitching with you once I'm sitting here on my own. Okie doke. Take care. Well, I'm nearly done doing all of the invisible stitching. What I'm just finishing off on this last little bit here, I've done the centre ones, and they're ready now for me to have a go at doing a little bit of cancer stitching to quilt it, because with the invisible stitching I'm not going all the way through to the back. I think I've said that once before, but I just wanted to catch the lace down in a couple of places. I'm also going to catch this edge here. Oops, sorry, can't see what I'm talking about. Yeah, there. Simply because it's, again, I'm hoping that this will be a quilt that will maybe get used. It's all going to depend on what it looks like when it's finished. But I just want to protect it in case fingers get caught in it. So what I'm doing with each of these pieces is stitching not just around the outside edge, but also the middle. Let me get you a little bit more in the middle. Yeah. So this is certainly going to be well and truly a 6-month project. Guess I'll probably be lucky to finish it in the 6 months, but I've haven't got anything else going on at the minute, so that's all right. I can keep working on it. I took all the little blue flowers off that I thought that I would applique. They're just in the way at the minute. Until I get all of this down, I just didn't want them, in the way. That's as good as a reason as anything. But I do want these pieces to be well and truly stitched down. So all I'm doing here is just burying the thread underneath to avoid too many knots. Good. All right. I'll leave that last bit for when I've gone from you. I want to get this probably up today. It's Saturday, and thought that it would be good for me to share what I've been doing before we get to the end of the weekend. I've done some canter stitching in that dyed thread. It does show on the back, and it's not going to be everywhere, but I think I'm okay with it. I don't think it's offensive. Yeah. The white canter stitching that I did here, while it's there, it's not as noticeable on the back, other than you can see that it's in a quilted style. This is just here. This is just where I was stitching on the the doilies and things. I went around this shape, so it's a little messier than straight lines. But again, number one, it's mine, and I know what I did. And like I said, really, if people are going to be turning it over and going, gosh, look at her stitching, I probably don't want them to look at it. Just as simple as that. They don't need to, do they? No stitching police here. Cool. All right, so Got a little bit of that thread left. So with this acrylic colour, I'm going to stitch along here and up here, just because I want to bring that colour down. I've got it in a few different places. Wait on, let me see if I can go up a bit. Yeah, so I've got that bit there. I've got that piece there, and I just want to bring this colour down here where it's a bit whiter than the rest. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm yeah, I've got the rest of this weekend's a little bit busy. I've got our grandson, who you've heard talk occasionally with me. He's playing his 50th game of football tomorrow, so we're going off to cheer him on. So that will take care of tomorrow, and then it'll be Monday. So I thought if I come on, I'm going to leave that for a minute because I actually don't know what I want to do with it. So on the front side, I'm burying the knotted end there. I'm not doing it from the back so that it just disappears. And it's just simply a running stitch. I'm feeling with my finger when the needle goes through. I'm going to end up with a quilter's callus on both those fingers. I'm trying to alternate them. I've had them before, and depending on how much you do as to whether you make it to sort of keep going. So I think in this instance, it's good that I'll keep having a break, but a callus is a good thing to have because then, that bit of hard skin stops it from hurting too much. Okay, this is all I'm going to do. I'm just going to trek along this edge here. It's quite thick because the doily itself has a hem that goes in underneath the lace edge here, and I'm stitching through that, so it's a bit thicker there. I can feel and rocking. Yeah, I can just feel that bit of resistance. Sorry, stop what I'm saying. Using that rocking method of keeping the needle going. But I do want a quilted look. So this is the only way that I'm going to get that when I've got so much more. And like I said earlier, I don't want to do the whole quilt, the whole cloth first. There's going to be areas that won't have quilting on it, and I'm good with that. But I do want it to have a quilted look. And as far as sort of what colour I do wear, it's one of those things that there's not a lot of planning goes into it. It's just kind of what I feel like doing next. My main concern is that I've got some consistent colour, so that if I use that, this sort of like almost coffee, milk coffee colour. I don't really know what you call it. I said a crew, but I don't know that it really is a crew. I think a crew is probably creamier than that. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep going so that line continues to the end, to the edge. Well, that's a bit easier to stitch through. I'm going to come back. So I'm going to go into just the wadding here, because I just want to catch that line there. I've decided that I'm definitely going to do that. So, but I'm going through all layers, and then when I get to here, I'm going to come back up onto the doily. I've just got that little bit of stitching there, just adds to the story, I think. All right, and I'm going to come up here. But I'm just going to do the bottom and this one side at the moment. Oh, am I going to go up that little tiny bit there? Probably do need to. Probably silly leaving it. Yeah, keeping the needle going in and out. Excuse me, not just. I just felt a bit of. Okay, I need to take that out because what I felt then was that this wasn't lying flat, and I don't want it to. Yeah, I didn't catch that well. All right, where's that stitch? Where did that stitch come from? Here somewhere. It's because I took those basting stitches out. All right. Hopefully, I don't have to take the whole thing out. I might go back to there and see what's gone on underneath. All right. It's just, it was there. I was just starting to do this bunch. I'm still not convinced. I think I still have to come here is fine. Here, no. All right, let's come back out. Let's get these ones out as well. Go back that far. There we go. All right, now, see now it is lying flat. So what I'm going to do, one of those safety pins, I'm going to have a couple of them back. And I'm going to pin it so that it holds in place. Because I don't want that bunched up look on the back. I'd prefer it to be a bit flatter than it was starting to not be anymore. Let's go over here. Golly, it's quite it's hard to go through the crocheted lace with a pin. All right. Go in there. All right, that's way better. I put one there as well. Oh, sorry, banging and crashing the pin tin. I mean, this is going to get cut off because it goes back to here. But for now, what I want it to do is to hold the rest in place. All right, good. That's better. Oh, I was lucky. I could just feel it with my hand, and I think that's one of those things that's really good to do is to be, you know, have your hand on both sides. And that one is bunched that up now. Goodness. Oh no, that's what I've done there. All right. About there, I think, because it's just going to be in the way of me stitching. And that green's going to turn over. This will be on the end, but I still don't want it bunched on the back because then that's just never going to sit nicely. It's always going to look untidy. Cool. So what I was saying before, I found out I didn't unpick it, was rocking the needle back and forth and gathering the stitches onto the needle gives you a bit more, you know, the line is straighter, if that makes sense. So the more you can do that, the better it is. I don't get too worried if my stitches aren't exactly the same length all the time. All right, now I'm going to come back here and do that same thing again, but we're going to check before I get carried away that it's sitting it nicer. Yeah, that's good. The pins are helping with that. It's Paul banging and crashing outside. I don't know what he's doing. It's a sunny day today. It's nice. Cool, but it's nice. A nice day. So the washing's out. I'm making chicken and corn chowder for tea tonight. And I've made my own chicken stock to go in it from some chicken carcasses. When we have a roast chicken, I save it, freeze it, and then when I'm ready to make a big pot of chicken stock, I've got it ready to go. Good. And that does feel better. That does feel a whole lot better. I haven't got that bunching that I was getting before, which is good. And so yeah, the pins, the basting all supports how the quilt actually sits. What I might do is come back. So if I do this next one starting here, and really it's not making a big statement while it's there. Let me come up a bit closer. It's just, I think it's just going to help complement the rest. Now it's not sticking out like a sore thumb. So the last little bit that I'll do on here, I'm not going to catch that one in it. I'm going to go through, but not all the way through, just through the wadding, because that's a stitch that's going that way. And I'm going to now come back and catch that lace with that same running stitch so that it sits down. Well, I'm keeping you on the screen. Thank goodness for that. Gosh, the start of this video is painful. I'm sorry. If you still managed to hang in here with me. I guess if you didn't, I probably wouldn't blame you, because it was very, it was a bit all over the place. All right. Again, coming down through the top and the wadding, and it's crossing over that blue thread, but I think that all adds to it. I quite like that cross hatch look. In fact, that probably will happen in other places, I think. All right, here we go. Now I'm going to catch that lace down. I'm just leaving the very tips of it. I'm not going to do those, but I'm going to go through the lace so that it lays. It's got some probably more protection than anything else, so that it doesn't end up getting ripped off. Good. All right, well, I think this is the last of what I'm going to do on this video. I've still got lots more doilies and lots more thrifted bits and pieces to add, but that's probably going to be for another day. I decided, well, this goes up, then I'm going to have a bit of a sort out in my art room, because it's a bit crazy, and I don't have enough table space to do this, so I think that needs to happen, because I can't keep taking up the dining room table with it. Much as it's not a giant problem when there's only 2 of you, but yeah, still, I don't need to take up 2 rooms, which is kind of what's happening at the minute. I'm just going to scoot underneath because I've already stitched there. Good. And now I'll come back. Oh, there we go. Back along this edge here and catch that bit of lace. Go up to there, I think, because that's the hem line that's what's going to be the hem of the quilt. Good. Cool. All right, well, I hope you have having a lovely weekend and doing the things you love to do. I am, and that's all that matters, isn't it? As long as we can find something to make ourselves feel good. So until we've got a 3rd prompt, this is me. I'm going to sign out here. Leave you to your quilting. I'm happier with that. It's all sitting much nicer. I can take the pins out now. It does have some, you know, fluffiness about it, and there might still be things that happen on there. You know, I might applique something on, just depends what our prompts are going to be about and where this quilt's going to lead us. Might even be an extra bit of embroidery, I don't know. But this is where I am for now. Cool. All right. I hope you're doing good. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.